BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff is leaving the school instead of facing a 7-game suspension for admitting to premarital sex. You heard right. He could be coming to a Big Ten school. Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, hit that free subscribe button. We're less than 500 away from 20,000 subscribers, plus that way you'll never miss a single episode. Also, share, like, and follow Locked On Big Ten as well. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. So, BYU quarterback coming to a Big Ten school. We'll discuss. Luke Fickell on the hot seat, according to one publication. I disagree, by the way, and a Buckeye was arrested. Plus, we have our top 10 Big Ten observations for the weekend, maybe our most unique one yet. Hang on for that. But first, the 2025 season is a month and a half away. And suddenly, BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff is a free agent looking for a place to play football. He might be coming to a Big Ten school near you. Now, you might be saying, wait, hold on. The spring transfer portal closed in April, right? So what are we doing here? Yeah, you'd be right about that. Retzlaff is withdrawn from BYU, and he will register at a school of his choosing like any other student, except he's then going to go play some football. That's how that's going to work. But this is an unusual story. In case you were off on summer vacation or maybe you missed the latest development with this story, in May, Retzlaff was accused of sexual assault by a woman in a civil suit. But along the way, as Retzlaff tried to prove his innocence, he admitted to a consensual physical relationship with the woman. Well, that's good news for him because the case unraveled at that point and it was dismissed as recently as June 30th. The bad news is players at BYU and all students at BYU, they all belong to a code of ethics where premarital sex is not allowed. And that means by admitting to a physical relationship, Retzlaff would face a 7-game suspension to start the 2025 season. A code is a code. Just like an honor violation could get you kicked out of one of our military academies if you go to school there. Retzlaff is an upcoming quarterback, and he didn't feel like it was in his best interest to sit out the first 7 games of this season. So he won't. He's gone. He's looking for a new place to play. And because he's not going through the traditional transfer portal route, other schools are not actually allowed to contact him directly, even though you know they are. But they may contact his camp, his family, his inner circle, whatever you want to call it. And he's already garnering a lot of attention. Last year was his first full-time season as a starter at BYU. He threw for just under 3,000 yards. He also rushed for over 400 yards, and he scored 26 total touchdowns on his way to leading the Cougs to an 11-2 record. That got a lot of people's attention. People like quarterbacks like that. So, where might he land? There are a few schools in the Big Ten that still need a quarterback, even though, as I mentioned, we're a month and a half away. Season's right around the corner, and that's not good when you don't have that button down at this point of the season. There's Northwestern. David Braun has not relit the flame of his rookie season when he took over the program and unexpectedly won 8 games, won a bowl game, and got the Big Ten Coach of the Year award. Hadn't been the same since. They haven't really been right at quarterback. SMU transfer Preston Stone is there now. Maryland Terps. Mike Loxley needs a quarterback. Mike Loxley needs a lot. I think he's in a little bit of trouble here. We're going to talk about hot seats later on. I think he, unfortunately, may be on one here at Maryland. I mean, since Talia Tagovailoa left, he's gone from Billy Edwards Jr., who left for Wisconsin. We're going to discuss that later. And redshirt sophomore Nolan Ray and redshirt freshman DeJuan Williams are all they have at quarterback. There is some competition for his services outside of the Big Ten. Oklahoma State might be pressing hard for this kid. They had a couple quarterbacks leave in the spring. No idea who's going to start quarterback for Coach Gundy over there. And they're a pass-happy offense. That might be a good spot. Notre Dame's name keeps coming up here. Now, they've had success just bringing in a new quarterback in the portal every year. Sam Hartman came in, then Riley Leonard came in. Last year they got to the national championship. Steve Angeli was thought to be the next guy up, but he bolted for Syracuse. There's Central Florida. You got Taven Jackson, who left Indiana to go to Central Florida. They might be interested. Scott Frost, maybe, possibly. It's going to be interesting to see where this kid pops up and how quickly one of those teams acclimates him into their system before the start of the season. And, the other thing to think about here, and the thing I mentioned at the top, is the whole transfer portal. We're just skipping that, right? And I've always raised my eyebrow every time it's happened. Like, oh, are we gonna let people get away with this? Nobody likes a transfer portal, but we've got two of them. We got one in December. We got one in April, and that's when you're supposed to put your name in the hat, and that allows other schools to talk to you. So, and if you believe for 1 minute that just because he's leaving like a normal student and dropping out and going somewhere else, and that's going to stop other schools from contacting him because they're not allowed to, that's baloney. That's absolute baloney. Everybody's who's interested in this kid is talking to him directly, not to his party, his inner circle, his family. They're calling him. They're checking it out. They're seeing what's what. So, but one of the powers, keep in mind that the NCAA still has, even though they've been completely neutered with this house settlement deal, the NCAA still determines eligibility. And they might not have anything else better to do other than they follow up on their investigation on Michigan football. Maybe they need something to do, want to assert their power in something that says, hey, you're not eligible to go there. You didn't go through the transfer portal. I'm just kind of, you're skirting the system here. I'm wondering if the NCAA is going to stick their head in this and try and figure it. Look, this has been done before, but it's caused lawsuits. There's the Miami player, Xavier Lucas. We're talking about him. We've done 2 podcasts on this kid because he left Wisconsin. Wisconsin's suing Miami for tampering. We're not exactly comparing apples to apples here, but anyway, these kind of things are happening a little bit under the radar, and now this is not under the radar anymore. This is up in your face, and we're going to see where this kid ends up and where he's playing quarterback. And like I said, I know there's a couple of Big Ten teams that would be and should be interested in his services as well. If you've been following this story, I would love to hear from you. Absolutely love to hear from you in the comments section. And by the way, BYU fans, if you're new to us, if you saw this story, wanted to click it on, you're brand new to Locked On Big Ten, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you here today. We're here each and every day. But again, if you're new to us, thank you very much. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this story, especially BYU fans. You're losing Retzlaff. How do you feel? Is he really? I mean, he had some nice numbers. I read a lot of stuff that people said, yeah, he's good, but he's not that good. I don't know. It might help determine how good of a quality school he may end up at. So let me know what you think about this whole story. We'd love to hear from all of you. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. That helps us. That helps you. And share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. We took this channel over about 2 years ago with about 1,000 subscribers. We're this close to 20,000 subscribers. We're trying to get there before the start of the football season. You can help us just by clicking that subscribe button. Thank you very much. And don't forget, you can check out all of our podcasts. We archive them on our own website, talkbig10.com. That's with the number 10, talkbig10.com. Podcasts go there. Plus, there are links for you to buy merchandise from your favorite schools out there as well. Get you ready for the 2025 season. All right. Luke Fickell. We in the hot seat here? There are a lot of people that think he is on the hot seat, and I'm going to tell you who. And then I'm actually going to refute it. How about that? Quinshon Judkins, disappointing news out of Ohio State, getting ready for his career in the NFL. Had an arrest, a little domestic problems this weekend. We'll tell you all about that. It is coming up in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Game Time. This is an app you need to buy tickets to any event you want to go to. Sporting events or non-sporting events, by the way. But, you've been waiting forever for maybe concert tickets to go on sale. And then, you lose out on it. It's sold out. You miss out. Listen, these kind of events are about making memories. And I know there can be some stress with ticket shopping, but that's where Game Time comes in to help you out. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime. Did you know this? I didn't know this. I know this now. You can save up to 60% off of their killer last minute deals. So if you're tired of endless scrolling, trying to find the best deal, Game Time's Zone Deals pick, that's the best seats in the best section for you. You ever wonder what the view of your seat will look like once you get there? You don't have to wait till you get there. You can find out right now on your phone. There's a picture from the seat, from the ticket you are about to buy right there on the app. Take all the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Thank you. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And check out our website, talkbig10.com as well. So did you see over the weekend CBS's Big Ten football coaches hot seat power rankings? I did. I saw it. I don't agree with it. It seems a lot of people out there think that Luke Fickell is in trouble at Wisconsin. I'll tell you why he's not in trouble in just a minute. But first, let's play the game. He led their list. It was right ahead of USC's Lincoln Riley, Maryland's Mike Locksley, who we mentioned just a moment ago. UCLA's Deshaun Foster is fourth. Michigan's Sharon Moore rounded out the top five. At that point, I'm like, I can't do this list anymore. This is ridiculous. Sharon Moore, hot seat, please. I thought it got a little goofy at that point. So, look, regarding Foster at UCLA, unless the wheels absolutely fall off this year, just out of fairness, or the fact that UCLA is not going to eat that much money at this point in this contract, he's getting another year. And don't forget, they got Nico at quarterback this year. Sharon Moore, to say he's on a hot seat or the top 5 hot seats out of 18 in the Big Ten is laughable. It's laughable. I mean, he probably could have got coach of the year last year for winning 8 games without a quarterback. You think you can win 8 games without a quarterback? He did. 2 of those games were Ohio State and Alabama. You're not getting fired. And he's on fire with his recruiting right now. He's not going anywhere. The only way Sharon Moore is on any kind of hot seat and is out at Michigan is if the NCAA comes back from that June hearing regarding Spygate and does some multi-year show cause penalty and he can't coach anymore. And then Michigan's going to go, all right, well, can't have you hanging around here. See ya. That's the only scenario I can see him being let go at Michigan. Regarding Lincoln Riley and Mike Locksley, yeah, I think where there's some smoke, there's some fire. I think there's some there with both of them. But back to Luke Fickell, because that's who I really want to talk to you about here, Wisconsin. Everybody on earth is going to tell you that Luke Fickell is a good coach, and I agree with that. We were all impressed with his credentials at Cincinnati, and Wisconsin was very excited to get him. They felt like it was quite the coup to land him as their head football coach. However, everybody on earth will also tell you that Fickell has not met expectations in his first 2 years in Madison. So 2 things have gone wrong here. First, he and his then offensive coordinator, Phil Longo, who's no longer there, promised to shake things up at Wisconsin. You know, the school's known for just humongous offensive lines and just a solid line of running backs over the years. They were going to ignore all that and go with the old air raid. We're going to dazzle everybody with the air raid and be very exciting and throw the ball around. But the team that Fickell inherited was loaded with big, powerful running offensive linemen and running backs, and it would have been foolish to completely abandon that ground attack with the personnel that they had, which leads me to my second point and why things have gone wrong for Fickell so far. In order to have an air raid or even just a normal passing game, you have to have a quarterback, and Fickell has missed a quarterback at every step of the way so far. started out with SMU transfer Tanner Mordecai. Now, Tanner put up some numbers at SMU, so everybody's excited. Hey, bet he can do that at Wisconsin. Wrong. Look, he's a good leader. I liked his management in tight situations, running the offense. He's a good runner. He's not a Big Ten passer. And he, like I said, he put up decent numbers at SMU, and Fickell thought he could do that at Wisconsin. He was wrong. The next year, Tyler Van Dyke. I mean, I hate to rain on anybody's parade, but everybody got excited. Ooh, we got the quarterback from Miami. Miami's known for good quarterback play. I live in Florida. I saw Tyler Van Dyke. Very up, very down. And I told you that's what you're going to get. We didn't really get to see it because he got injured early against Alabama, and that was it for the season, and that was it for his career at Wisconsin. So, but too many highs and lows with him. And then Braden Locke, I thought maybe, not a very accurate passer. So that did not work out at all. So several strikes at quarterback for Luke Fickell. So he's had problems. Fast forward to 2025. Maryland transfer Billy Edwards Jr. I don't know if he's the answer. And here we are in year 3. This is the 4th main quarterback that we've tried out here. He did put up a lot of stats at Maryland, big numbers, but they only won 4 games. They were behind a lot, so they're going to throw the ball a lot. And they throw the ball a lot at Maryland anyway. I mean, people keep forgetting that former Talia Tagovailoa is the Big Ten's all-time leading passer. People don't remember that or realize that. Did most of that at Maryland. So with all these challenges piling up, it's easy to see why people might think that Fickell is in trouble in a pivotal 3rd year at Wisconsin. And we haven't even gotten to the difficulty of the Wisconsin schedule. I mean, oh my. It's the toughest schedule in the Big Ten this year. It's not even debatable. It's not. At Alabama, at Michigan, they host Iowa and Ohio State before traveling to Oregon. I mean, everybody that's good in the Big Ten, they're playing. They got a 2-game stretch in November at Indiana and hosting Illinois. Those 2 teams won a combined 21 games last year, and Indiana went to the playoffs. Look, I've said this many times here on this podcast. Wisconsin could actually be dramatically improved this year, and we'll never know it in the win total. It's just going to be that kind of year. By the way, I'm calling 5 wins this year. That's my prediction. 5 wins for a good year. They'll have 6. That's the ceiling. With that schedule, that's the ceiling. And that's coming into year 3. Very pivotal for coaches that come in regarding job security. But Wisconsin likes Fickell. And here's where CBS got this whole thing wrong. And maybe they missed this in the offseason. They like Fickell, and they know that this upcoming season is going to be brutal following 2 mediocre seasons. Again, a lot of schools will get rid of a guy under that scenario. So the administration was thinking ahead. They're like, all right, he's 12-13 in 2 years. He's going into a brutal schedule. They're not going to have a winning record this year. We can't fire him. We like this guy. We just got him here. All right, let's give him a contract extension. 12-13, let's give him a raise. Let's give him an extension. That way, nobody can ask us any questions about letting him go because we're not entering the final 2 years of a 5-year deal. We're good. No hot seat. And whether you think that's silly or good business, I'm going to tell you right now, Luke Fickell is not on the hot seat this year. Okay? CBS, you got it wrong, folks. Hey, quick note about Ohio State, former Ohio State and current Cleveland Browns running back Quinshon Judkins, arrested over the weekend at Fort Lauderdale for alleged domestic violence. That's according to Broward County records. The former Buckeye is coming off Ohio State's national championship season. He was the 4th pick in the 2nd round by the Browns in April's NFL draft. And with the team's departure of Nick Chubb, Judkins is expected to be given every opportunity to win that starting job in Cleveland. Now, it's very likely that he will face some discipline from the NFL under its personal conduct policy. All right, coming up, we got our top 10 observations from the weekend. Now, if you're new, we always do a feature, top 10 Big Ten observations on Monday from the weekend. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets. Wednesdays, we like to power rank stuff. Thursdays, Big Ten classics from the Big Ten Network, and we make our picks and predictions on our Friday shows. Not a lot going on Big Ten action-wise here in the middle of July, so it's kind of an all-encompassing observations by me from over the weekend. We'll take care of that in 1 minute. It's going to be fun right here on Locked On Big Ten. Time now for our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Not necessarily Big Ten this weekend, coming off of kind of a slow sports weekend, if you will, and all the Big Ten and everything shut down. We're getting ready to, frankly, we're getting ready to kick it in with high gear with football in just a couple of weeks. So I'm going to put together a bit of a different, this might be a more unique list than what we've had before. I'm going to go full screen if we are, if you're on audio only. And yes, you see that correctly at number 10, Pope Leo. It's sports related. You know, this weekend he sent off an autographed Paul Konerko jersey. You know, he's a White Sox fan. He's from Chicago. He's a White Sox fan. And usually people bring autographed jerseys to him. He signed it. Pope Leo gave a jersey to Paul Konerko from the 2005 World Series team. So I thought that was a neat moment. Look, these are my top 10 observations from the weekend. That was one of them. Loved it. All right, what else we have here? All right, the Big 18. What is all this about? A lot of times I get questions. Hey, why do they still call it the Big 10? I just saw before we took to airtime to tape this podcast, I saw on the Big 10 website, they had an explanation. They strongly considered a couple of times changing the name of the Big 10 to something every time they added a team, whether it was Penn State and the 11 or, you know, then Rutgers and Maryland, and everybody else came, then the 4 teams from the West Coast. I'm going to look into that article, see if anything's interesting there. I'll glean from it for you and present it in an upcoming podcast later on this week. Iowa, want to mention them. Wide receiver Brody Schaefer. He's one of their commits, class of 2026. You know they need wide receivers there. However, Wisconsin slipped in and offered him a scholarship as a DB. He says, nope, I want to play wide receiver. I am committed to playing wide receiver at Iowa. So good news for Iowa. Now they got to give him the ball. They don't throw it to the wide receivers a lot. Michigan, they got another tight end. They're just getting deeper and deeper every day here with the class 2026. Brody Schaefer. I'm sorry, Mason Bonner from Denver, 6'6", 210 pounds. He was in the mix at Minnesota and also with the Miami Hurricanes. But he's going to Michigan. I think he always wanted to play at Michigan. I think that was his deal. So he's pretty excited. They're pretty excited to have him as well. UCLA, they got a big one. They got Carter Gooden over the weekend. He's a 4-star defensive lineman, 9th best defensive lineman in the country. This is the highest ranking recruit yet for the class of 2026 for UCLA. So that was pretty good. Not all Big Ten news here. Cooper Flagg from Duke, number 1 pick in the NBA draft. So you know about the summer league, right? It's where they play. They kind of get used to the system. They play with a bunch of younger guys, developmental guys, rookies. And so first game. His second game, he scored like 31 points. They shut him down. In fact, I saw the headline. This is Cooper Flagg shutting him down. I thought, whoa, what, did he get hurt? Usually that's lingo that you use when somebody gets hurt. Shutting him down for the year, whatever. Shutting him down for summer ball. They saw what they saw. They're like, hey, we're good. We're good. We don't need you to risk any injury out here in summer ball. We'll see you at preseason camp, and that's it. Shut it down for summer ball. We'll let some other people play in the summer. Not you. You're not getting hurt. The Scottish Open was this weekend. Chris Gotterup edging out Rory McIlroy out there across the pond. And by the way, the Open, not the Scottish Open, but the British Open, if you're proper, you call it the Open, it starts Thursday over there. Rory, big favorite up there. Also, this time of year, we got Wimbledon and Jannik Sinner. By the way, I always remember growing up as a kid that Wimbledon was always like wrapping up on the 4th of July or 5th of July weekend, that kind of deal. We're in mid-July. Is Wimbledon starting later? And I just missed it. I'm not a humongous tennis guy, so I don't know. Maybe somebody can hit me up in the comment section. Are we starting unusually late this year with Wimbledon? The fortnight of Wimbledon as it winds down here in mid-July. Deion Sanders, I mentioned him, head coach of Colorado. He said a couple of things at Big Ten Media Days this past week I wanted to mention that I agree with. He says, look, we got to have some sort of salary cap in college football to keep it fair. But then it was something else he said that I really agree with. He says we got to do something about the uniforms. You know, we're down to now guys basically wearing biker shorts out there. No protection, no knee pads. It comes up to the mid-thigh. And if I'm a football player and I get banged down the knee, I better have some padding on there, number one. But guys are playing without the padding there. And then to make the pants shorter, and I don't know, maybe they feel like they're more free to move quicker if their knees are more exposed, whatever. But it looks like they're just taking a pair of scissors and hacking them off like Bill Belichick with a hoodie sleeve. It's all jaggedy. It doesn't look good. Uniforms are supposed to look good. All right? That's why we have them. And people are, making them all jaggedy and torn, and they look horrible. If you're going to have them shorter, just have them be, like manufactured that way with an actual seam. It bothers me. And then the top observation, look, man, it's July. Is July not the greatest month of the year? Everything slows down. Yeah, it's hotter than anything, but I mean, a lot of you take vacation in July. It's a lot easier going, and gotta love the month of July. That's what I put on there. Number one, my top 10 Big Ten observation for the weekend. Also, July is big because we have actual football here in July. The Hall of Fame games on the 31st. But we got Big Ten Media Days, July 22nd, 23rd, and 24th in Las Vegas, month of July. And then we're off to practice, and then it's the season. So this is the quiet before the storm. Very excited about that. Those are my top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Hope you enjoyed that list as well. All right. Again, hit me up on the comments. Love the comments. I love when you guys get your comments going back and forth as well on YouTube. Many ways for you to interact with this podcast. Of course, there's Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. That's the number 10. Our website, talkbig10.com with the number 10 right there. All of our podcasts go there. Go back for a second, listen, catch one from last week, get caught up. Also, there are links there to your favorite Big Ten merchandise if you want to check that out as well. But before you go, hit that subscribe button, please. That way you'll never miss another episode of Locked On Big Ten when it's available every day. But you can help us get the big push on 20,000 subscribers before the start of football season. We're like 19,500, 600, somewhere around there. Help put us over the top. Would really appreciate that. And also, don't forget to check out our friend Brian Smith at the Portal Show. He said all things transfer portal every day. Can you believe it? Yeah, there's that much going on out there. So check him out. Find the Portal Show on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. That'll do it for us. Thanks so much. We got Tuesday tweets coming up tomorrow and the latest news. Keeping an eye on everything with college football as we creep closer to our Big Ten Media Days on July 22nd. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. Talk to you next time.